hearing people talk about this, the Duskbloods from Software. There are conversations that the IP is owned by From Software, but the publishing is Nintendo. Some people are asking and saying, why is From Software doing an exclusive deal? It's not a wise choice. It's not a smart choice, and so on and so forth. Now, you all know my stance on exclusivity. I strongly believe that if you own the IP, you can do whatever the heck it is that you want with the IP. However, just don't shaft your gamers while you're at it. So in the case of, say, maybe third-party developers, if you go into cahoots with a publisher and bar a game from going to other platforms that you would rather have basically taken to these other platforms, then, we have a conversation, I guess. So now in this case, some people are asking whether it's going to be like Bayonetta, or whether it's going to be like, say, Astro Chain and these other titles, to which I say, to be very honest, it's kind of unknown. It seems to me like a Bloodborne level in terms of what it is that, they're doing here, where pretty much Nintendo may have funded the entire project, or maybe they have a partnership going on for an exclusivity deal, and so on and so forth. Now, this is likely a game I will probably never play, and I'm okay with it, because you see, From Software is a strategic company. They understand the broad market that they're in, and for them to have pulled off an exclusive game like this, Nintendo would have had to pony up some real serious monies, if you understand what I mean. What you also need to understand is From Software's got a whole bunch of games that are coming, and their biggest success for them has been in the multi-platform realm. There's no doubt that Elden Ring is most likely going to go ahead and outsell that game. I mean, think about it, ladies and gentlemen. Who would want to go buy in a day where there is another Elden Ring game coming? By the way, I don't know if many of you have actually been paying attention. There's another Elden Ring game coming very soon that's going to pretty much fulfill kind of like a specific segment of what Duskbloods is. And Elden Ring itself already fulfills a significant part of Dustborn, because Elden Ring does have PvP attached to it, has PvE attached to it, and then Night Rain is going to be a PvE experience, and this is not even considering what the second Elden Ring game is going to be, right? So by the time Duskbloods comes out, which I don't know what date it's coming out, is it a 2026 title, or is it this year? There's going to be Night Rain, and From Software players and From Software fans, they may be attracted to go ahead and buying this, game, and buying this particular, console for the game. But in all reality, there's a hindrance somewhere. The hindrance is the way From Software gamers interact with their titles. They interact with their titles in a very unique way that I've from what I've seen anyways, is that they sit here and play these games into dirt, but having the capabilities to do weird stuff like modifying the game and doing all kinds of sorts. This is why you notice that the biggest purchase of their games and their titles that are multiplat are on PC, because this is where they can use things like Cheat Engine and all that stuff to make modifications, to do some really cool stuff, to go ahead and tweak the game around as much as they want. This version of Duskbloods that is going to be relegated to the Nintendo Switch is going to be interesting, because it's going to get emulated so that they can get a hold of what it is that they want. This is the hardcore From Software fans. Or many of them just basically buy the game and play it as a one and done, and that's it. So I don't know about how its popularity is actually also going to look. This is me just saying I don't know. I'm not saying it's not going to be popular. Nobody go ahead and go be reading and saying, oh, VG is saying that a From Software game is not going to do well. I didn't say that. Get out of here. I'm just saying that from what we're seeing, there's a broad appeal that From Software has, but it's now going to be blocked by another platform, and a lot of people are not going to be willing to go ahead and make that switch. I mean, it's literally asking them to pay $450 to play one game. Like, even this writer here on PlayStationLifestyle.net, which is funny though, that, PlayStationLifestyle.net writer that, basically would probably not be mad when PlayStation asks you for $450 to go play Black Myth Wukong or play Final Fantasy, right? I know. And then they say, despite the negativity, some fans are genuinely excited for Duskbloods. However, buying a $450 console is a bit too much to play one game. Well, the irony is not lost on y'all, PlayStation, Lifestyle.net. Some fans are hoping it's a Nintendo Switch exclusivity is temporary. I'm simultaneously excited and disappointed. It says another fan on the game subreddit. I'm hoping exclusivity is temporary. Now, I couldn't be bothered, man. To be very honest, again, guys, you see, you don't got to do anything. You know what I mean? Let me just go ahead and talk about the people that I already know what it is that they're going to be doing. Most of us are now at the point where it's like, man, if they're not going to bring their game, I'll play what anybody else brings. You know what I mean? There is Lies of P that is over here doing their best and begging for your money and willing to give you whatever the heck it is you want. You are the boss. So if you're a From Software fan, I mean, you get to choose how you interact with, From Software games, but most From Software fans are also very much okay with quality, Souls-like titles as well, coming from other, sources. And Lies of P basically established itself as you could have been the Bloodborne for PC. You feel me? So the competition is still there. From Software is not immune from it. Sure, they make what I think is some of the most unique, but their formula is actually getting and inspiring a lot of other, creators out here, which is good. You feel me? So Nintendo, I think, may have basically commissioned this game and did not envision this reality. That's, oh, crud. Somebody may be able to come out here and actually take on, From Software. And not just one, by the way. Multiple. There was Lords of the Fallen, the redo, that also came out and did some really solid work. So thinking about all of this together, it just really makes the gaming industry very exciting. And I want to see, man, Lies of P looks pretty legit good. I want to play the game, but man, I'm suffering from a serious skill issue with this game. I played it on Game Pass when it was on there, and I was like, bro, I'm getting my tail handed to me. So at this point in time, ladies and gentlemen, it's very interesting to see Nintendo come out with their business model and try to maybe even go ahead and appeal to a broader audience, only for them to basically meet this gaming market. I mean, not just this gaming market, they meet this gaming market, the one that's already saturated, by the way, right? They meet this economy, the one that is just trying to figure out its way through a recession. And then they meet a politics that is also influencing, things like tariffs and so on and so forth. This is a very interesting time for them. You see people on Twitter talking and saying, nah, it's not going to be a big deal. And I'm like, man, Twitter ain't real life. I'm starting to ask questions of my students and say, have you seen the Nintendo Switch 2? Do you think you're going to get it? Many of them are like, I don't know. It depends on my parents. Because that's one thing people don't really realize is Nintendo depends on the parents. And the parents are the ones that are working the jobs and are making the money and bringing the bread home. I don't know what they're going to be willing to do, but I guess we'll see. Or the kids, they got to start going to mow those lawns, man. Maybe you got to do more chores. Maybe it's time these youngins are going to probably eventually mat up and get out there and, and kill something and bring back home. Perhaps they can buy themselves a Nintendo Switch and these $90 games. Bro, this economy is not going to be kind, I think, to a lot of the luxuries that we've enjoyed in a long time. Value is going to be where it's at. It's going to be very interesting to see how Nintendo navigates through this. Talk to me in the comment section. Thanks so much for watching the video. I really appreciate you guys' time and audience, and hopefully we'll talk pretty soon in another one. Peace out.